Welcome, everyone. It is Carrie Gatto here with Big Picture Realty, a team of Keller Williams. And today I'm bringing you another interview with a local business owner, Nancy Michaels, who is with Nancy Michaels Interiors. You guessed it, she's an interior designer. And I'm so happy to have you on the interview today, Nancy.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. It's fun to be here.
Very good. Well, to start us off, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, this is sort of my second or third act in life, being going into the design business. I really my career started out in marketing, and I worked at Channel 7 for my last job, and then I really went out on my own. And that was a long time ago. And I guess my interest in interior decorating came when I started to invest in real estate and was buying the absolute worst houses on what I hoped was one of the nicer streets, mostly in Concord, Massachusetts, which is where I had lived for 30 something years. And really getting a good deal on them and then seeing through to, I had the vision, I think, of what they could be. My friends and
Yeah,
family thought I was insane, but I just really got the bug for doing it then.
you're speaking my language.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's a great investment too. So people should be using you for that. I mean, I think that those properties are probably a little more challenging to sell. Um, my experience is that two of them were from estate, situations where either the parent had passed away or the mother was going into a nursing home. Um, and, if a family doesn't want something, it is a great opportunity for somebody to come in and, get a good deal, hopefully. Although now times have changed so
Yeah,
much, you can't really get great deals in real estate, probably. But those are the kinds of homes that I like, always gravitated towards.
yeah. But you got to have that vision, and a lot of people don't, frankly. So it's important. And
Yeah, it's
Nancy,
hard to.
what made you decide? Sorry. I was just asking, what made you decide to open your business?
Well, I've always been an entrepreneur, and it's funny. Even as a kid, my dad had a CPA firm, and I I actually thought everybody owned their own business. I mean, I used to say that Julia was so lucky because her dad owned the library. Like, I literally thought he owned the library because he worked there. Um, so it's always sort of been in my blood, I think, and I don't know that I could ever probably go back to work full time for someone else at this point. But I just love the independence, the freedom, the creativity it gives me, and I just like being my own boss.
Excellent. And clearly had a knack for it, as you told us before,
Yeah,
with having
hopefully.
that vision. Yeah. What motivates you?
Gosh, so many things. Give me a hint. I know I wrote down a bunch of things for you. Um,
Mhm.
but I just one of the things I think that anybody who's looking into change in a career too could look at is like, what do you spend your time doing? And for me, I was obsessed with design blogs, decorating blogs, websites. A lot of my free time was looking at products for the properties that I was buying or things that I wanted to do to upgrade my own home. And so I think that whatever you focus on really is a good indication of what you would be good at and like to do. So I found that just to be um, helpful in terms of uh, making that decision a little bit easier. Like I knew that I would love it because I was so spending so much of my free time doing it.
Yeah, you turned a hobby into a business, which is
Right.
the best.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. And you mentioned in your notes about the satisfaction of seeing the transformation, the before and after.
Oh my God, I just love a good before and after, and I'm in the
Good.
process of redoing my website. Hopefully it'll be up by the time this airs. But I'm using a lot of those shots of before and afters because I think that really it helps people to see what's possible. Um, I'm working with somebody
Oh,
now
yeah.
virtually, and they want to take down. Well, they don't really want to take down a wall. I'm suggesting that they do that simply because they don't have the footprint to do what they want in their kitchen, and they cannot figure out what it's going to look like. They have no idea of how this could work. So, one of the things that I did is I sent some of my own images of like rooms before, because I did that one time. Actually, twice I've taken down walls to open up in kitchen space, and um, and it probably won't be my last time. I mean, there's way more to come because it's just homes now are older homes are built so differently than they are today. And I think probably things are even changing now. After this pandemic, people want actually their own space as opposed to this open
Yeah.
con idea that, everybody can be in the same room together. That no longer works when everybody's at home. So um, that's really I forgot the question now. I'm so sorry. Losing my track.
About your motivation.
Yeah, so I mean, seeing that before and after is just, yeah, really, really inspirational to me. And I think it is to other people too, to see that result or that transformation. They can't often visualize it on their own, but to see it in color is really helpful.
Definitely. That makeover thing.
Right.
So exciting. What is something most people don't know about your business?
Well, I think interior designers, I think, have a reputation of being super high end or sort of unattainable or something that only other people have access to. And I, although that is certainly true, possibly in some cases, I think that it's not entirely true in the terms of the way I run my business. I mean, I do things that are very hands on, but I also work virtually too with many people. And I love that work. And I'm actually surprised at how well it can be done if you've got a great understanding and a rapport with your client, and they do with me. There's just a lot that can be done virtually. They can certainly purchase things on their own. Um, we do it through pictures and videos, and I can see, or even live FaceTime calls, or um, see what's happening, the progress, and what might need to be done. And I'm just really enjoying that. And I think it's really affordable and it's very doable for people. And I think people also really like doing things on their own, or
Yeah.
being able to say that I did this, not I hired an interior designer
Yeah.
to do it.
It almost sounds like you're coaching them, you're guiding them, but they're still partnering with you in that process.
Yeah, and I believe that everybody is coachable. I don't think you have to have this innate talent to do this. In fact, I would venture to guess that I had none years ago. I mean, I had very, very little. It was not my experience in terms of, I mean, I grew up in a very small town in central Massachusetts. It was, I guess, one of my biggest influencers was my uncle, who was a designer, mostly in textiles, but very talented and really exposed me to sort of that kind of world. But um, it really took doing a major renovation on my house when my kids were little and I was married. And I ran into this woman who had a lot of experience, was never formally trained in interior design, and was probably one of the most talented people um,
Hmm.
I have ever met in the industry. And she really sort of took me under her wing. And she's since passed away, but I always think, like, in my, like, what would Joan do? What would Joan say? Like, because she was really like, gave me such an education. I mean, we went to design homes, historical homes, museums, um, and she really shared all of her knowledge. Everywhere we went. In fact, she used to have an Irish whisper and she would be saying, Nancy, don't ever do this. And somebody's like designer house or decorating when they have those tours. And I'd be like, Joan, the person is right there. Like, be quiet. But she really just, it was, I feel like I was really taught. And I think that that's what I love being in a position to be able to help people to do. And I'm creating a course right now that I hope I can launch in this year because it really is something that I think would be helpful to anybody at any age or stage in life, honestly.
That's so great. Um, what is one of your most memorable customer experiences?
I think recently I just worked with someone in New Hampshire and it was virtual. But she had told me that she had hired two New York City interior decorators. And she was incredibly disappointed, felt like her home was really stark. It didn't really have any of her personality in it. Um,
Mhm.
it just needed some warmth and comfort. And I just, I never want to disparage anybody in your profession because it's just never a good thing to do. But I was curious to see what had been done so far and asked her to send those pictures, which I would do anyway. And um, it was really interesting to me in terms of how many things just were not, it really just was not finished. And some of it, I was just really questioned the choices that this person made in terms of furniture pieces and the proportion was very off and that's something that's really important to look at. I mean, when you think of the size of a room and what function it needs to play, and then choosing pieces based on really, I think those two things. Well, I think function is definitely trumps form. um, Design is wonderful, but if it's got to work for you. And so I think that she ended up, I just had, we did an initial consult meeting and I found out a little bit more about her personality. And quite frankly, it's not necessarily the taste I would have or I would recommend to somebody if I didn't know them. But I'm not designing for me, I'm designing for my client. And so it was really interesting because she really had more of a sort of boho kind of feel to think she loved pink. Um, just things I wouldn't have thought of. It wouldn't have been my initial recommendation. So I feel like every time I work with someone too, it's really a learning process for me. And I get better because I'm exposed to, what their particular aesthetic might be. And so I went shopping for those kinds of things for her and she was beyond thrilled. I remember it was just before Thanksgiving because I called her to tell her like you might want to pull the trigger on these items now because of all these sales that were
Mhm.
going on with Black Friday. And so
Yeah.
she got so excited, she actually over ordered. She's like, I have things coming in. I think I ordered twice. The cart froze and I just did it again. But I said, listen, hire a college kid over the holidays to return what you don't want. And I'm going to be going back up there. Actually, I'm going to do a site visit with her to sort of, and a shopping trip to finish up as much as possible with what
Wow.
needs to be done.
That
So
sounds really fun.
it's great. I just love it when people are happy. When they have the end result that they're looking for, the transformation they're happy with, then then I've done my job.
Awesome. Uh, what are some of your goals for the coming year? You mentioned a course.
Yeah, that's a huge one. And the other thing that I really am interested in doing and is my past background when I first started my business. I ended up doing a lot of work for Staples and then Office Depot because I was in marketing and I was targeting small businesses. So that was their primary business. And what I loved about working with a major corporation is that they had the resources to have me basically be a third party endorsement, of their brand. And it was very easy to do. I did in-store seminars with Staples. And they never asked me to sell anything on their behalf. It was really a goodwill gesture for their small business customers. When I worked with Office Depot, it started off being in store, but then it all went online. And I did this web cafe series for them for more than 10 years. And that was extremely helpful in terms of online learning. I mean, I got to produce these webinars, and sometimes I would be featured in them. Sometimes I would even host them if um, my contact at Office Depot was unable to. When you have the
With sorry, it's just with the amount of time people spend in their office or their home office, it would be very important to enjoy your environment.
yeah, it really is. I mean, I think it has a huge impact on you, and
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
everything that you purchase or do in your home should be something that you look at and love.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so now that your hobby is your business, what do you do for fun outside of working?
Well, I used to travel. I'm hoping those days will come back again. I've done so little of it in the past couple of years. It's been disappointing, but hopefully that will come back. And I have big plans. Um,
Mhm.
I
Where do you
love
want
the,
to go first?
I actually am really thinking that it would be so much fun to go to Portugal for a winter
Oh, yeah.
and just spend a couple of months there.
Yeah, that's
And
sort of a hot spot now. I'm
yeah,
hearing
I don't
a lot
know.
about
And
Portugal.
I've never been. I actually went to Barcelona. My daughter did a semester abroad there, and
Nice.
I was shocked by how much I love Spain. Like it was never on my bucket list of places I had to go. And when I get to Barcelona, I felt like I could live here. I could live in the city. Um, Something really, really nice about it. It's certainly affordable. Um,
Beautiful architecture.
and there are many other places.
Nice.
I've been to Paris in a long time. I would love to go back to the flea markets and um, again, a lot of where I want to go has to do with decorating. So I should probably
Mhm.
just, I mean, that's always nice if that can fit in, but it's not,
Yeah.
it's not something that I should only be shooting for. The other thing too is movies. I love movies. I miss
Yeah.
not going to movie theaters. I've only gone, I think, twice since this whole thing has started. But yeah, I'm really, thank God there's great TV, great movies on
Yeah,
TV, series, thank God it got me through COVID,
that's
and
right.
it's continuing to. So it's, I do enjoy that. And I love reading too. And I am finding that I'm really more committed now. Like one of my New Year's resolutions is to just read for pleasure more often because I find that most of the reading I do is work related. And it always has been that way.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. That's a great resolution.
Yeah,
Well,
when I heard Jenna Bush reads 100 books a year, and she has 3 kids under the age of 6, I was like, how?
wow,
How does that get done? I mean, but you obviously have to
gotta
make
make it a priority, I guess,
it.
right? Like everything.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I just want to ask how customers can reach you. What's the best way
Yep.
to contact you?
My email address is nmichaels at Nancy Michaels Interiors. The website is nancymichaelsinteriors.com. And so either of those are ways that you can certainly reach out to me. And I'd love to hear from you. I am really interested too in knowing what people's biggest challenges, because I would
Okay.
start creating some blog posts too that deal specifically with that. So if anybody's listening who wants to just shoot me an email or go through my website, it might be easier just to email me at nmichaels at nancymichaelsinteriors.com and tell me your
Got it.
biggest design challenge. I would love to know. And I'll provide some
Great
answers. So I will
question.
respond and give you some feedback too. I won't just leave you hanging there. Um, but yeah, it would be great to hear that.
That's wonderful. That's very generous. So definitely email Nancy your biggest design challenge, and also hope to see you on our upcoming webinar, Timeless Tips and Tricks for Decorating. And yeah, so thank you so much, Nancy. This has been a real pleasure,
Thank
uh,
you. I
as
really
always.
appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk soon. Thank you, everyone, for
Okay.
tuning in. Bye for now.
Bye bye.